See, in this training, it is absolutely important to pay attention and take notes. But also, I'll be the first one to admit, I wasn't really a comp plan guy. And for those of you that aren't really, fond of math, that's okay, right? Because this is not a math competition. This isn't math class. However, we need to have what? The rhino mentality, right? So over, under, or through, find a way or make one. So for those of you that are weak in math, it's okay. Bust out a calculator. Get your calculator ready, because here we don't work hard, we work smart, okay? So today, for those of you that can understand the comp plan fully, I promise you 75% of the work and your understanding will be done. And as I had introduced this at convention, think of this as an extended version, really a encore version of a more detailed compensation plan. I do expect to be maybe 10 minutes over, but I do hope I have your love and grace. And this will be recorded so that you can understand the calculation, maybe go back, look at it, punch some calculators, and then maybe understand it. But as long as you understand it, it's downhill. It is smooth sailing from here. So we are in week 8. We are covering comp plan driving behavior. All right. So comp plan 101. So why I call this comp plan 101, I'm not going to be crunching the numbers and talking about technicality. What I will be doing is talking about how to assess and analyze the compensation plan correctly as you build in this business. But there are certain nuances and certain rules and guidelines that I must cover. Okay. So the first thing I want to cover today is for you to understand what is BP and what is SP. So when you guys are going through catalogs, or when you're going through, the back office, how you get to calculate your business is going to be upon these two major factors, right? So pretty much BP is what you get paid on. Points awarded for sales, calculated on the USD value of the final subtotal after discounts and promotions. So we call it bonus points, right? So pretty much consider this the RIMAN currency that pays you your commission. So we're going to see a dollar amount, a BP amount, an SP amount, and during our RIMAN retreat season, you're going to see also a TP amount known as travel points, right? That's not always there. It is seasonal. Now, what is SP, right? So SP, I want you to think of it like a rank meter, like a thermometer to track your business, to track your rank, to track your sales. It is usually used in rank advancement, maintenance of your customers, and your paid as rank. So BP is what we get paid, and SP is how we calculate our business, how we calculate our rank, how we do the math to accrue points to hit certain positions. All right. So here's another nuance I want to kind of share with you today. Now, there is a difference, right? What you personally buy and when you sell to a lifetime customer, right? Your mom can be a lifetime customer. Your dog can be a lifetime customer. Heck, my turtle can be a lifetime customer. So as long as there's an email, a valid address, and a name, they could sign up. These are all free accounts, right? However, if you sell through a lifetime customer account, then you will receive 100% in commissions. But if you just go in and personally buy an order, that would be considered a rebatable commission. So you will get 50% in commissions and 50% in RIMAN dollars, right? So you get to choose how the transaction happens, but this is the difference. When you personally buy, it's a 50-50 split with RIMAN dollars and commissions. When you sell to a customer, you will receive 100% in commissions, USD cash. All right. Now, I want to share with you guys tonight, what is the 50% rule? Now, when it comes to rank advancements, there's something you guys need to pay attention to, okay? So per teams, you may apply 50% of the SP towards your next rank. Now, remember, 100% of all the work and the BP you do, you're getting paid based on the rank. Now, if you want to unlock that next pay grade, you want to get to the next pay level, you want to get to that next rank. If you're a manager running for senior manager, or you're a senior manager running for team leader, one thing to be mindful of is when you're calculating the total SP, I would call each team a leg. So you have team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4. Now, what is a rank meter? It is your SP. So what we do is if one leg, now if you're a senior manager running for team leader, okay, you do not become a team leader just by having 2 legs all meeting the requirement of 50,000, 50,000, or 25,000, 25,000. It doesn't work like that. Well, you can hit it with 25,000, 25,000, but the rule is there is going to be a cap. So if going team leader is 50,000 total, you have to break that up within 2 legs. Why? Because you can't do 50,000 in one leg and become a team leader, right? So what happens is there is a 50% rule applied, right? You can have 60,000, 70,000 in one team, but that one leg, they will only count 25,000 towards the team leader rank. Why? Because they're only going to apply 50% of the qualifying volume towards your next rank. And this is why you often hear, in order to be a team leader, you need 3 senior manager legs, and you need 50,000 to be accrued out of at least 2 legs, right? The reason for that saying is because of this 50% rule. So remember, if I'm a senior manager and I have one leg with 50,000, that will not get me to team leader. I can use half of that to apply towards the rank. So remember, there is a 50% rule applied per each leg towards the next rank, right? So be mindful of this. It will be calculated in SP, okay? All right. Now, here are some nuances I want you to kind of be mindful of. Pay period deadline, it's usually the last day of the calendar month, 11:59 US Pacific Standard Time. Now, remember, 30 to 40% of all your production is probably going to happen on this last day. So the sense of urgency, pushing, promoting is absolutely important in this business. Rank advancements are calculated as most recent calendar month count, not a 4-week count. Not it's not like week 1, week 2, week 3, but it's going to be a month to month. Okay, so remember, there are pros and cons to the matter, right? But if you sign up September 1st or September 30th, that would constitute as month 1, right? Now it's all about plan strategy, but for some of you that want to get a fast paycheck, it will help rolling it in with production at the end of the month, because when the new month starts, you're getting paid on the 15th, right? But if you want to make all your volume count, you want to get started at the beginning of the month. So these are certain little tips and strategies that can help you get over that hump. Manager and senior manager is real-time promotion. So once it's done, once the back office updates, you will show right away real time. Now, from team leader and higher, you will show the next month of the first as a fully paid qualified team leader. So keep that in mind. So here's the cheat sheet to make sure you guys could calculate really where you are in your rank and your calculation and timeline. The easiest way is from where you are today, the month you are in today, just calculate and rewind 3 months back, 5 months back, 6 months back, and you'll be able to calculate your total accrued volume for the next rank. And you'll be able to see what volume falls off and what volume you still retain. All right. Now, remember, guys, RIMAN paycheck. Now, we have 2 methods of getting paid. We get paid weekly and we get paid monthly, right? Every once in a while, seldom do I do, but I do get random calls randomly saying, hey, I think my paycheck calculation isn't correct. I think they didn't pay me. But to the contrary, remember, there is a weekly element and a monthly element, especially on the retail sales, right? So when you do a retail, a rebate commissions or a retail commission, when you're selling retail, remember, the retail is going to be paid weekly. But if you did that extra work, you did the homework, you pushed and did the extra few thousand SP, and you qualify for the extra 5 or 10% in commissions for the top retailer bonus, remember, that is calculated monthly. So there is a difference, right? Weekly checks are paid every Tuesday, and monthly checks are paid monthly every 15th of the month. All right. So the most important thing I want to talk about tonight is comp plan drives behavior. Okay. Every compensation plan has a behavior driving element. It doesn't matter if it's network marketing, telemarketing, car sales, door-to-door sales, solar sales, whatever sales there is that has any compensation plan attached. Remember, that compensation plan, you have to pay attention to what behavior this plan is asking you to drive. And the number 1 money earners are the best at emulating the behavior that the comp plan is asking you to do. The best example I could give you is what I said during convention, right? Let's just say you guys are part of a BMW dealership, right? And this month, the BMW headquarters told us we're going to bonus out the most money if you sell the BMW 5 Series, right? So what's going to happen? Every sales manager, every salesperson on the floor and their mama are going to be pushing to sell the BMW 5 Series. Why? Because comp plan drives behavior. They're going to attach the most payout, the most commissionable money on that sale for that category, right? And let's just say the next month they oversold all these 5 Series and there's 3 Series left over on the lot. There is a surplus of BMW 3 Series. So next month, what is the BMW headquarters going to do? They're probably going to emphasize more bonuses on the 3 Series next month to keep the inventory moving. That is what you call comp plan driving behavior. Now, so let's look at RIMAN's comp plan and let's take a look at what behavior they are asking us to do. And let's look at the percentage payout based on the behavior they want us to focus on. All right, so let's take a good look. Retail at 54%. We have open group at 30%, uni level 5, leadership override at 4, rev share at 1, and leadership match at 40. Okay, so what sticks out to you the most, right? For me, it's the retail, right? The 54% in retail sales, right? So what RIMAN is telling you is, we want you to go and sell these products, right? Retail sale has been around since the beginning of time. Anybody can do it, right? If you think of the idea, oh, I can't do a retail sale, but you've been doing it all your life. It's called promoting, right? Like when you went to a great restaurant, you told your friend to go check it out. When you saw a fun movie, you told your friend, you got to go watch this movie with your kids or your family, right? You're promoting it, right? This is how you make a sale, by promoting a product with a compelling story, a compelling product, and it's going to deliver those results. It's going to do what you say, right? So RIMAN is saying, we're going to bet money that the likelihood of these people keeping the product, using it, and cultivating a second sale is highly likely. So as long as you do the work, we will pay you well. Okay. So now in the RIMAN compensation plan, there's 6 elements how you get paid, but in reality, the only thing you really need to focus on are the 3 now money making activities. That's all you really need to focus on. Number 2, the long-term money will automatically trigger in the future because of the now activities you do today, right? So what is the now money, right? It's focusing on the retail. So what is open group? Open group is called aggressive expansion, right? This is where you build a team, right? This is where Robert Kiyosaki talks about you get to participate in passive income, right? Where you're getting paid on other people's efforts, right? I often talk about McDonald's, right? McDonald's is the most successful franchise in restaurant history. Why? Not because they have the most mouth-watering burgers, but because they focused on fast duplication and convenience, right? Same thing. Open group allows you to do aggressive expansion, right? So I would say the most money paid out would be the retail and the open group. Now, uni-level is a very unique way to get paid based upon a win-win situation. So a uni-level is based upon how well and actively you build your team and structure it properly. And for doing so properly, structuring your team properly according to the behaviors of the comp plan, they're going to pay you very lucratively. Now, so what is the long-term money? The long-term money is leadership override, rev share, and leadership match. A lot of this is going to be triggered based upon the now money activities that you do today. All right. So let's just focus on the now money for now. Okay. So let's talk about retail commission. Retail is very simple, right? Here in the RIMAN compensation plan, it's very simple, right? You become a planner, you're by default, you're going to get 10% on what you buy or sell. When you hit the position of manager, anything you buy or sell, 20%. Senior manager, 30%. Team leader, 40%. You see these big incremental jumps, 10, 20, 30, 40. And then when you get to the higher prestigious positions, it incrementally jumps to 42, 43, 44. So what is that telling you? Let's look at where the behavior, where the sweet spot, where the money making, the lazy big money spot is. It's team leader, right? It's actually doable. The average person can hit it, and you're going to get paid on multiple levels, and you're going to be paid very, very well as a team leader, right? And moving on. So anything you buy yourself, this is what you're going to make. But now what RIMAN is saying is if you're willing to go the extra mile, why are they saying for you to go the extra mile? Because they're saying the likelihood of somebody buying these products again is going to be 90%. The likelihood of somebody refunding this is going to be almost non-existent, right? So the idea is as you spend more time, invest more time in this business, as you accrue more and more customers along the way, you're going to have that much more compounded repeat customers buying as you build in more new customers. And this is why the likes of Miss Kate Twigg, Christy Belliston, Kim Weimer, the name goes on and on and on, Miss Kristen Moon, all these top sellers making a killing just by promoting and selling the product, okay? So if you do an extra 2,000 SP personal points and you're able to open 20 lifetime customer accounts, what RIMAN is saying is we're going to add an extra 5% on top of your rank paid commission. So essentially, a manager is going to take home 25%, senior manager 35%, team leader 45%, director 47, 48, and on to national director taking 49. Now, if you do the extra credit and go a little more and do 4,000 SP, and you open 40 lifetime customer accounts, which are free, you're going to lock in an additional 10% on top of your rank, your qualified paid rank, right? So let's just take a look at this, right? So if you get to manager, you're going to make 30%. Senior manager, you're going to make 40%. Team leader is going to make 50%. Think about this, guys. Like if I had a customer that wants to buy a product, it's like literally me and Chairman Han doing a 50-50 split, right? I take 50, the company takes 50, and the customer gets a great deal and they get world-renowned K-beauty products. This is just too easy, right? Now, here's the kicker, right? If the product is good, this is going to fly. If the product is terrible, you're going to be doing a lot more talking and you're going to be doing a lot of turning and burning. But everybody on the call today knows how phenomenal these products are. You know, for those of you that have been around, you've probably gone through the process of locking in a second, third, fourth, fifth time sale, right? It's because the products are that good. Because the products are so far superior, the mechanism of this retail compensation plan is highly, highly lucrative. All right, now let's get into the open group differential payout. Now, this part is my favorite part. This is where the big money is. This is what I actually showcased at the RIMAN 2025 convention on stage with some of our team leaders and directors, and we did this whole cha-ching, cha-ching, right? But I'm going to explain to you today really how this open group differential payout is going to get you rich, all right? So if you guys are ready, I'm diving in, all right? So there's some nuances I want you to pay attention to, right? So it's very simple. A manager, pretty much what they buy or sell direct, they're going to make a 20% commission from the customer, right? Now, remember how I said managers, planners make 10%, managers make 20%, senior managers make 30%. So if I recruit a brand new planner frontline, this person is going to make 10% of what they buy or sell. I'm in the bracket of 20. So the remainder 10% that is left over rolls up to the manager, right? Now, let's just say I signed up my friend Ben and I'm a manager and he quickly became a manager, right? Because he's my frontline and we're the same rank, I'm going to make a generation pay of 5% from my manager. But here is the nuance I want you to pay attention to, right? So a manager's commission is going to be a 20% base commission of their personal sales and first level only. Did you guys get that? First level only. So beyond your first level, guys, guess what? You ain't getting paid, okay? So in this compensation plan that we drive behavior, all your recruits, do not give it away. I want you to frontline, become a sponsor monster. Why? Because that is what the compensation plan is requiring, okay? So a manager makes 20% on what they buy or sell. The differential will be a 10% from the planner, right? And you will only get paid on your level one or what you buy and sell. So what I want you to focus on is go wide. You're going to get paid on the width of your business, right? But I want you to look at this little quote right here. Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. This is Warren Buffett's world-renowned quote, right? See, for those of you that are planners, those of you that are managers today, right, still dreaming about becoming financially independent through a distribution channel of K-Beauty, I want you to pay attention to this, okay? Because by doing this early on, by going wide as a manager, remember, you're setting yourself up for a really, really lucrative uni-level pay plan, right? But also, you're going to be a top producing, top earning team leader, right? You're already setting the stage for you to become a director, a team leader, senior manager. From the jump, you're already setting yourself up, right? So remember, even all the way to national director, you already have your front lines in place, right? You have 10 legs, right? I say do 10 wide, but remember, the key is to go wide and set yourself up for the future, whether it's the uni level, right? Going through paid ranks all the way to national director. Remember, you want to go wide. You want to go wide, get paid on the width of your business, set it up correctly, set it up right early on. Don't be a three-legged team leader and you're breaking senior managers and you break a team leader and you got to starve. But if you go 10 wide, if you go wide as a manager, by the time you're a team leader and you got 3 senior manager legs, you're going to have a minimum of 7 open line lucrative business running with you. Okay. So remember, as a manager, focus on going wide. All right. Now, as senior manager, pretty much you're getting the manager pay as well because you get the personal and first level pay. And here you get 25 base commission with an additional 5% SM open group. I know this sounds confusing, right? But I'm going to break it down in the most easiest terms, okay? So senior manager, okay, let's take a look at this 30% right here. A senior manager, direct to the customer, okay, not a downline, direct to the customer. Anything I buy or sell is going to be 30 to 40%, right? Because I'm going to make 30%, but if I do that extra customer, 1,000, 2,000 SP, 4,000 SP to lock in that retail bonus, right? It's going to award you anywhere from an additional 5 to 10%, right? So anything I buy or sell, I'm going to get that full senior manager pay. But a planner that makes 10%, this is a differential payout, right? I make 30. I frontlined a brand new friend. He came in as a planner. He's going to make 10%. So what's left over? Anything he buys or sell, he gets 10%. And within whatever transaction happened, that remainder 20% rolls up to the senior manager, right? Whatever's left over rolls up to the senior manager. The most important part is the way this comp plan works is the priority is the planner, then the manager, then the senior manager, and then anything that's left over, it rolls up to the leadership, okay? So I want you to pay close attention to this, okay? Now, if my frontline planner happens to go manager, they're going to get a promotion and get a pay raise and go from 10 to 20%. So if I'm at 30% and my newly promoted frontline manager is at 20% pay grade, whatever they buy or sell or transact, right, they're going to make 20, but because of my 10%, that remainder 10% rolls up to the senior manager, okay? So now, if I promote a equal senior manager, I'm going to make that generational pay of 5%. Now, so it's very similar to a manager pay, right? The differential payout, right? But a manager makes 20, senior manager makes 30, right? So anywhere from a planner, manager, senior manager, that's where the transactions are usually happening, right? The transactions, right? From level 1 to senior manager, and it's going to be that differential pay. Now, I want you to take a look at this additional 5% SM open group. A lot of people get confused here, but I would call this like a baby team leader, okay? It's like a preparation to understand how to drive your depth and get paid on your depth by the time you become a team leader, okay? So let's take a look at 5% SM open group. Let's take a look at what really that is, okay? The most important thing here to look at is this highlighted gray box. You guys see this highlighted gray box? If you see a highlighted gray box in the chat room, go ahead and put a 1 for me. You guys see this highlighted block right here, right? So this is going to be your guidance and kind of show you what this is, okay? So anywhere that there is a senior manager that is not in the gray highlight, you are excluded from the payout, okay? Because you're a senior manager, okay? So remember, level 1, you get that OG differential pay like a manager, but you're getting the 30% spread, right? So you same thing like how a manager gets paid. Now, beyond your first level, anywhere in your legs where there is no senior manager below, every transaction, you're going to get a 5% override. 5% goes to the senior manager. 5% goes to the senior manager. 5% goes to the senior manager. But in one of the legs, there's a senior manager over here. So for this production, you are exempt, right? In the second leg, on the way bottom, there's a senior manager, but he's not in the highlight because you're a senior manager and he's a senior manager. He or she's a senior manager. Remember, you're getting your senior manager pay. This person is getting their senior manager open line pay, right? So here, you're not getting paid, right? But the planner here, you got paid the differential pay, but there's another senior manager in your third leg. You're not getting paid. But everywhere else where there is no senior manager, consider that an open group senior manager payout. So every part, you're getting a 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%. Pretty easily explanatory, right? So the manager gets paid on their level one, differential payout of 20%. Senior manager, same thing, gets paid similar to a manager, but they're at the 30% differential payout. And then in their depth, where there is no senior manager, every transaction happening outside of a senior manager, 5% is rolling up to the open line senior manager, just like a baby team leader, okay? So this is how the 5% SM open group works, okay? Now, as we move on to team leader, right? This is going to be kind of confusing. It's going to be kind of exciting. It's kind of be head scratching, but remember, I'm going to break this down for you bite by bite. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is here, unlimited levels in team leader group. Now, this is where the money is at, okay? This is where you start hearing the song, money, 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 right? This is where you start making the unusual pay for doing the unusual way, right? So unlimited levels in team group, what that literally means is in your whole organization downline, up until the next team leader in your downline, in between that entire whole organization in depth, you're going to be paid check match, differential pay, and you will be promoted as a team leader with a 40% differential pay. So anything you buy or sell, again, you're going to make 40 to 50% straight off the top. So if my mom says, Chris, I want to spend $1,000 and buy Radiance 100 from you, I'll sign up as a customer. Bam, she dropped 1,000 BP. Guess what? I'm making $400 right off the top, right? That's how you make lucrative money retail sale, right? However, if I start my aggressive expansion and start building teams, I frontlined a brand new planner, right? A planner makes 10%. So the difference, 30% rolls up to the team leader. That's pretty lucrative, right? Now, a manager, right? My frontline manager, they're making 20% and I'm making 40%. So that spread of 20% left over in revenue and sales, rolls up to me and I get paid on it, right? If I promote a senior manager, that person gets 30%, I make 40, there is a 10% difference of a spread. So whatever transaction happens, he gets 30% on that transaction. I have a 40% override and that difference is 10%. That remainder 10% rolls up to the team leader. Now let's talk about unlimited TL group. Now I kind of covered this on stage and this is what I showed you guys. Okay. You guys understand it, right? So it's cool if we go on to the next page, right? I'm just kidding, right? If you take a look at this, I'm pretty sure you're going to be scratching your heads like, what the heck am I looking at? What is this? Analysis paralysis. But the good news is I'm going to be breaking it down piece by piece, bite by bite. Okay. So for those of you that need a calculator, bust out your calculator, pull up your calculator app on your phone. We're going to have some fun. All right. All right. So what I'm going to do is going to break down the commission on differential payout of how team leaders make lucrative money, right? I stated they earn on all levels of open line team building and they are paid on the difference of 40%. All right, so team, tonight, I want you to focus on the left side of the screen. Only the left side, just take a look at only the left side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break it down bite by bite. So a team leader makes what? 40%, right? So if a team leader, okay, now if you look at the structure, it's a brand newly promoted team leader. Okay, they got their 3 senior manager legs. Okay, now what I'm trying to portray here is the X'd out legs. These are legs we're not going to focus on. Okay, I deliberately put an X so you don't get confused. But these 2 legs in the middle, we're not focusing on it. We're going to focus on the left and we're going to focus on the right side. But I'm going to break it down bite by bite. So here's what the scenario looks like. This is a newly promoted team leader. They have their 3 senior manager legs, and they started this team leader sponsored a brand new planner and is building a brand new open line, brand new team leader group. Okay, so this is a brand new leg that this newly promoted team leader sponsors. So let's take a look at how this differential payout actually works, right? So if a team leader is at a 40% pay and he sponsors a brand new planner and whatever he buys or sells makes 10%, then the difference of 30% that is left over, whatever transaction happens here, he takes 10. So if $100 was transacted with this planner is going to take $10, and this team leader is going to be paid $30, and a total of 40% has been paid from that 100 BP. You understand? So remember, team leader is at 40, a brand new planner is at 10. So the difference, he's going to make 30%. Now, this is an open group. Now, the next slide I want to show you is we have to be mindful. The first priority pay goes to the little guy first, right? So the priority of commissions being paid goes to the planner, then the manager, then the senior manager, then the team leader, director, senior director, and national director. So this is the theory of boiling the bottom, right? The new person, the new guy, the new gal, first faith check. We emphasize that is the most important part. But if we move to the second part of this payout, now I want you to be mindful of this nuance. I want you to look at this 25%. Why is it now 25% for this team leader when he's building an open group? Now remember, anything this planner buys or sells, they're going to make a 10% override, right? But this planner is the person that sponsored the second planner. But remember, now this planner is going to make a 5% override on their frontline transaction. Remember, they only get paid on their level ones, right? So what this is actually showing you is when there's a level one transaction, whatever is left over and didn't get paid out, it is literally telling you everything left over is all rolling up to the team leader on all levels of the depth of every transaction happening. This is why it gets so lucrative, right? So remember, let's not focus on the team leader right now. Let's just look at these two planners right here, right? The top planner that frontlines another planner, he's going to make 5% generational pay on this planner, right? Anything he buys or sells, the bottom guy is making 10%. So in the pie of 40, 15% is already paid out and accounted for. So what is left over in the pie of 40? 25%, right? So every transaction, the first transaction, the team leader got 30%. The second level transaction, this team leader got 25%, okay? So here's another additional cha-ching happening, right? So same type of situation. Planners only get, and managers only get paid on their level one. Senior managers only get paid on the SM open group, right? So a planner that's only going to get paid on their level one, he's going to make 5% generation pay for his frontline. But the bottom person as well, they're making 10% on anything they buy or sell. A team leader is entitled to 40%. 15% has already been paid out and accounted for. So what is left over? The remainder 25%, again, rolls up to the team leader, okay? So this team leader in open group is cash in commission. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. So essentially, this team leader is being paid as the team leader. They're getting the senior manager pay, and they're locking in the manager pay, okay? Now let's get to the fourth planner. Same situation, right? These guys don't get paid because they only transact on their level one. But this third planner that frontline the fourth planner, same thing. He's going to get a 5% generational pay from that planner. And the bottom person is getting a 10% pay on what they buy or sell because that's a planner's pay grade. So 15% again has been accounted for. And from the pie of a team leader's 40, 25% is left over. And that is going to roll up to the team leader. So every transaction, a team leader is getting paid big time. Okay. This is why team leaders make so much money and it's so lucrative. Guys, this is being recorded. So if you want to use this video to go back, punch some calculator, look at it again, watch it again, watch it again, watch it again till it makes sense. Rhino mentality, over, under, or through, find a way or make one. Just watch it again. It's very, very simple. This is how the differential payout works. Now we're going to move over to the right side. Okay. Now this is a little bit more complex, right? Because why? There's ranks in here. This is not a open line. This is a true differential payout structure that you're going to see. So let's take a look, right? A planner makes 10%, obviously. A manager makes 20%. A senior manager makes 30%. And a team leader makes what? 40%. So what happened? Right here, right? It's stated. On the differential payout, a planner, manager, senior manager, and team leader, they all collectively made their 10% spread. Okay, so everybody took 10%, right? Team leader got 10%, senior manager got 10%, manager got 10%, and planner got their 10%, right? So this is called a perfect differential payout. Okay, now here's a nuance you have to remember. So remember, on this side of the transaction, a team leader made 10% on the open group transaction, right? Now, but here's a nuance you have to remember. Now, in order to know what the team leader is going to get paid on this transaction, remember, we're boiling the bottom, right? So we got to find out first, what did the planner make? What did the manager make? What did the senior manager make? What transactions happened? Why? Because the leftover is what rolls up to the team leader, right? So remember how I talked about the SM open group, right? So let's take a look at this guy, the frontline senior manager. We have to calculate what he's going to get paid to know what the team leader is getting paid, right? So a senior manager, obviously he got the differential pay, but also because there is no other senior manager in between here, this senior manager is going to be awarded a 5% senior manager open group payout, right? So remember, 10%, 10%, 10%, SM manager planner, 30% of the pie is already taken. It's already paid out. So what's left over? 10% is actually left over, right? So among that 10%, what is being paid out, the leftover, right? Of that 10%, the 5%, it's rolling up to that SM open group I talked about, right? So here, the planner, manager, senior manager all got paid. And what's left over? That 5% from the 40% pie. So that 5% rolls up from this transaction. Okay. So remember, every transaction happening in your team leader open line, wherever there's money left on the table, bam, that's all rolling up to the team leader. That's why the money is so lucrative and compelling. All right. Now let's take a look at also the planner pay, right? Remember, we have to look at what the little guy got paid out to know what the team leader is getting paid. Now here, the team leader is going to make a difference of 20%. It's actually lucrative. And this is why we promote so hard. You have to become a team leader, go team leader, go team leader, because the money is so lucrative, right? So now remember, a planner and planners transaction, right? The top planner, he's going to make a 5% override for frontlining an equivalent planner, right? So he gets his 5% sponsorship pay, right? But remember, the bottom planner, they're going to get 10% of what they buy or sell as well, right? So 15% is all already accounted for and paid out already immediately, right? But then again, there's this senior manager, my frontline. There's this guy right here, right? There's no senior managers. So on this guy, he's going to make another 5% on the SM open group. So essentially, 20% has been paid out, and whatever is remainder, which is 20% that's left over in this transaction, the entire 20% rolls up to the team leader. And that's how you're going to yield this type of a payout, right? I know it's confusing. This is being recorded, so you're going to be able to go back, punch out a calculator, watch it over and over and over, and see how the differential payout works. So in this scenario, bam, this guy went team leader. He's got 3 front lines, and he created an open line, and there's another leg running. Every transaction, he's making 30, 25, 25, 25% on every transaction occurring until ranks start promoting up. And even in a perfect differential payout, he or she is making, this team leader is making money on every transaction on every level. Okay. So I hope you guys caught it. This is being recorded again, so make sure you guys go back. For those of you that don't understand, make a mental note to come and watch this again. But this is going to be the main meat of the move. All right. Now I'm going to talk about uni-level commission. Right. Here's what I want to share with you guys. Okay. All across the board, if you do 10 lifetime customers and 1,000 SP, planners and managers, you're going to make 2 levels of uni-level. Senior managers are going to make 4 levels on uni-level, and team leaders are going to make 6 levels. But did you know RIMAN created a cheat sheet for you guys? Man, talk about not leaving any money on the table, right? So think of it like this, right? This is one of the most compelling power plans that I've ever seen. It's a power plan. It's a power play in a comp plan, right? So when you're building a team, especially in a uni level, right? The first 6 levels that you build, your frontline, your frontline's frontline, their frontline's frontline, all the way to level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Usually your first 6 levels is where your main circle of influence is, where you're spending most of your time, where you're cultivating the relationships, supporting the team. And that's why on 6 levels, we pay based upon your paid rank. So when you build a nice sized organization, remember, in order to have a very, very lucrative uni level, you want to build wide, right? Because you get paid on level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Imagine you had 2 legs of just 6 people. It's not that lucrative, right? So the whole key is to go wide. Remember, everything is congruent. Everything is tied in from the jump when you're trying to go manager, okay? Now, when you become a planner and you do 1,000 SP and 10 customer lifetime points, you're going to unlock 5%, 5%, 2 levels, right? So my frontline and my frontline's revenue, I'm going to be able to get paid on that, right? So anybody in all ranks that does 1,000 SP and 10 lifetime customers, it's going to unlock 2 levels, 4 levels, team leader, it's going to unlock all 6 levels, director, all 6 levels, senior director, 6 levels, national director, 6 levels. And in the 4th, 5th, 6th levels, you get incremental higher pay as you go along the rank. However, this is the fun part, guys. This is what's really cool about RIMAN, okay? Now, if you're a planner, right? And let's just say, you didn't really build a downline. Maybe you sponsored one person and it became a runaway leg. That thing became a monster leg, right? But it's one leg, right? It became a monster leg, right? And, you got people in there within like 4, 5, 6 levels that became director, senior director. There are people like this, even in my organization, right? There in Mr. Julian Doan's group, there's a gentleman with a monster leg, and he just took a position, bought some products, and just introduced us to some people. And he was busy doing his own projects, right? And he's got a monster leg. And some of you are going to get monster runaway legs, right? This power leg that everybody talks about, right? But here's the cool part, right? Just so as long as you do the work, right? And you're willing to go the extra mile and do the extra credit. A planner that achieves 3,000 SP and 30 lifetime customers, that's going to lock you in to the senior manager bracket, and it's going to immediately unlock 4 levels of uni level pay for you, even though you don't have the rank, right? So This is the cheat sheet, literally, right? So see right here, unlock all 6 levels just by getting more personal customers and calendar month SP, right? Unlock 4 levels when you do 30 lifetime customers with 3,000 SP. Unlock all 6 levels with 50 lifetime customers at 5,000 SP. Think about it, right? If I'm a planner and I sponsored maybe 1 leg or 2 legs, and I didn't quite get there yet, right? It's frustrating because you might end up leaving money on the table. But this is how you control your destiny, right? We got killer products. We got affordable luxury that people are out there willing to buy over and over again, month after month, year after year, right? So as long as you do the work, right? There's no free lunch in life. Do the work. Do 5,000 SP. Lock in 50 lifetime customer points. Even though you're just a planner, you get this done, you're going to be in the realm of unlocking 6 levels of your uni level pay, okay? Never say never. Don't ever rule yourself out. So as long as you do the work, there will always be an avenue for you to make lucrative income selling K-beauty. And as you know, once you become a team leader, director, senior director, national director, you're going to unlock 6 levels, anywhere from 5, 3, 4% adjusting, but it's very, very lucrative. But here's what I will tell you guys, okay? There's a theory that, all boats rise with the rising tide, right? Can you imagine by the time you're a team leader or a director and you got 1,000 people in your organization and you're promoting this 1,000 SP uni level payout? If you had 1,000 people do 1,000 SP, that's an extra additional million SP that you're going to add revenue to your bonus, to your business. It is very, very lucrative, guys. So this is how the uni level works. Per level, you're getting paid 5% on one level, 5% on the second level, 3% on the third level. So remember, as you get paid on levels, go wide. Set yourself up for success from the jump. All right. So this is really what team leader or a 5,000 SP50 lifetime customer payout really looks like. So, in a perfect world, 10 people aren't going to bring in 100, that bring in 1,000, that bring in 10,000. It just doesn't work like that, right? But there's going to be somebody that made a decision and got into momentum mode and they blew it up, right? So this looks like maybe somebody, recruited 8 people, but in reality, maybe 3 or 4 legs really flourished, right? So this is level 1 from left to right. So this is what would constitute your level 1 on a 5% payout. Every transaction happening here, you get a 5% override, right? Same thing here. Level 2, every transaction happening in level 2, you get that 5% override. Level 3, you get a 3% override. Level 4, 3%, and so on and so on. So remember, having 3 legs and driving depth ain't going to give you a lucrative uni level pay. Make sure you guys go wide, build wide, go wide from manager and on. All right, now let's get into the long-term residual. What really is the long-term money? Now, we covered the now money, right? Just so as long as you master these 3 now money activities, guess what? The long-term money is going to get really, really exciting. Okay, so leadership match bonus. Here's what I will tell you. Okay, sorry, guys. Here's what I will tell you about leadership match bonus. I could say without a shadow of a doubt, every national director in this company, the leadership match bonus is the biggest portion of a leader's check. This thing is out of control. Okay, so remember, you're getting paid leadership match from team leader on, and it's going to be team leaders who achieve the minimum of 10,000 SP qualifier within their team leader open group in that current calendar month. Okay, that's what's going to keep you qualified as an open group team leader, and that's what's going to unlock your matching bonus. So how matching bonus works, we talked about uni level. Uni level, you're going to be paid on levels, but matching bonus, this is going to be paid on generation. Think of it like your first cousin, second cousin, third cousin, right? So the first team leader that I promote, think of him like my first generation team leader. The first team leader that your guy promotes is going to be your second generation, and then so on and so on to the third, fourth, right? So this is saying, I don't get promoted till you get promoted. I don't get paid till you get paid. You have every incentive to help people and create a win-win culture, right? Unlike corporate America, they pay you just enough so you don't quit, and you work just enough, hard enough, just so you don't get fired, right? So it's a totally different concept, right? So how matching bonus is paid, it's paid on team leaders or higher earned commissions. So you're going to make 40% of the commissions earned by your team leader or higher on the rebate, the retail sale, the open group, and the uni level. So directors and above, leadership override is included. So remember, whatever total commission you're making, it's not that you're making. So if I made a total of a certain commission payout on my RIMAN, commission, right? It's not 40% on the total commission. It's 40% on these specific money-making activities. However, you're as a team leader, once you break your first team leader, you're going to make 40% on the first generation, 20% on the second generation, 10% on the third generation. So remember, this is per leg, right? So each leg that has team leaders, you're going to check match all of them, just so as long as you qualify, right? As a director, you're going to unlock 4 levels of generation, senior director 5 levels, and national director, you're going to unlock all 6 levels. And this is going to be based upon the success of your organization. Okay, so remember, the whole point of leadership matching bonus is to create the behavior of layers and layers of leaders that are automated and running their own business. Okay, so let's take a look at this, right? So let's just say I'm a team leader. Okay, my frontline team leader, that would become essentially my first generation team leader. Okay, now you see the bottom team leader here, all the way at the bottom of that leg. Because there are no other team leaders, this second team leader would be considered my second generation team leader. Now, if you look at the left side of the leg, there's a manager, planner, and then at the bottom is a team leader. Now, in between me and that team leader, there are no team leaders. So that team leader is my first generation other team leg team leader, right? And so if you look at above the team leader, planner, and manager, because there is no other team leader, essentially these would be my open group production legs. Okay, so if my first generation team leader generated 10,000 in the open group and the sales and the retail and all of that, if he generates 10,000, I am matched 40% and I take home $4,000 from that $10,000 generated. Now, in my second generation, once this person generates 10,000, because on second generation I make 20%, I will be yielding $2,000. Now on this leg, on the left side of the leg, because this is my first generation team leader as well, if this person happens to generate 10 grand, I'm going to make 40% off that 10 grand, which is going to yield me a total of 10,000 in matching bonus. Now, imagine if you're a national director and you have 300 team leaders, you might have 350 qualified team leaders all over the world. Can you imagine what that leadership matching bonus will look like? This is why all the national directors' income, the biggest portion of their income is the matching bonus. Now let's kind of talk about leadership override. This is kind of very simple. It's very easy to explain, but pretty much when you become a director, senior director, or a national director, in your open group, right? So same thing, like, you know how like if there's no other team leaders below you, if you're a director and there's no other director below you, that whole entire revenue that you generate, they're going to give you an additional 2% override payout on top of the revenue that you did. Now, if there is a director below you, then you're going to make a generational override of 1% of that volume. Same thing as senior director, right? If I'm a senior director and there's an open group leg with no senior directors, for that entire volume that I generated, the company is going to give me an additional 3% royalty override on that revenue that I generated. Now, if there is a senior director leg, let's just say if I'm a senior director and in one leg there happens to be senior director Ms. Brianna Michaels, she's going to take the 3% and I get the 1% override. Okay, same thing as a national director. If I'm a national director, I'm getting a 4% override. If there is a national director in my organization, that national director gets the 4% and I get a generational 1% override. So it's very simple. So when we talk about director group, it is the volume resulting from planners and customers in each line of sponsorship where there are no directors. Same thing with senior director group, where there are no line of senior directors, and national director group, where there are no other additional national directors in that line. Okay, so this is how the override works. So as long as you hit the positions and you qualify, you're going to make an additional override on the revenue that you generate. Now, this global revenue share is actually exciting. You know, this is actually like a proxy way for me to maybe get paid on Mr. Steve Hyun, or maybe some of the national directors in Taiwan, or, you know, they might not be in my organization, but I could get paid on some national directors in Korea, right? Because it's a global revenue share payout. Okay. So how this works is for directors, senior directors, and national directors, it's a point awarding system, right? So just because you hit the rank doesn't mean you're going to get paid in every country. No, that's not how it works. It's for every market that's open. And in those markets, if you have a team that you're building and participating in those markets for the particular revenue that you generated at your rank in every market that you do have a team, what is happening is RIMAN HQ in every collective market, at the end of the month, they're going to put 1% of BP, the total BP, in a global revenue share pool. Right? So it doesn't matter what country you're from, as long as you're a director, senior director, or a national director, and you have teams in your downline participating in those prospective markets, for whatever revenue you generated, you will be allocated those points accordingly based on your rank and how much you've contributed into that market. And based on that calculation, you will be given points, and those points will be evaluated into a revenue share split of commissionable money. Okay, so as long as you become a director, senior director, or national director, you qualify and you have participating teams, 1% of the BP allocations will be individually allocated in these global markets, and you can participate. Okay, so I got to cover pretty much all 6 parts of the compensation plan today. You know, I did a little extension of it from what I showed you guys at the convention. I showed you the nuance with the BP, SP, but pretty much I broke it down bite by bite. And again, today the call to action is go wide. Sponsor 10 frontlines and go team leader, become uni level qualified, and get that 1,000 SP and 10 lifetime customers knocked out. Why? Because it is the handful of new recruits that can make or change your career. Don't waste your time on people that don't want it, right? It is easier to give birth to new life than to raise the dead. Go out there, sponsor a brand new person, motivated, excited about K-beauty with a brand new, fresh, warm market, right? And for those of you that do the call to action, those of you that do get the 10 front lines, I promise you, you will have a very, very lucrative income. You will be hitting momentum and you'll be very, very, very happy.